Hello, everyone. Happy Premier League weekend to all. Actually, I'm recording this on Thursday. By the way, Premier League is not started until tomorrow. At the time you're gonna see this, but for now, welcome each and every one of you to the kickoff of the Premier League season, and for the first time ever, sweet, sweet Premier League fantasy. That's not a Mariah Carey song. That is pretty much what it is right now. So as you can see, this is Premier League fantasy. Now it's pretty much simple. You got $100 million in your bank. You got to select 15 players. Deadline is 12:30 tomorrow. So it's about, let's just call it close to 24 hours for now. Once I finish it up, I will have to pray, watch. Hopefully they'll give me some points and winning and all that kind of stuff. And you'll do this every single week. You got to pick and select and all kind of stuff. So almost every day or almost every week, I will do my fantasy and just boss around, showing up, see if I can do well, and maybe you can try it for yourself. You can go to Premier League Fantasy, you go to fantasy.premierleague.com, and I will have a little bit of my own fantasy, which is create your own fantasy, and maybe it's just a league of one, or maybe I'll have you know, join the fantasy and see what I can do for this season. But we'll make sure that, you know, I'll make sure that I will do well this season. Because let's be honest, fantasy, I have not, let's be honest, I have not stayed long in fantasy football in any kind, NFL or basketball or anything like that. So I never have done a full fantasy season. But I'll try my best to do so. Now, got £100 million, 15 players to pick. Pretty much simple. And normally, I will have to feel like, okay, Akeem, you have to go for some big name players with big time performance, and pretty much that's the standard. But I've realized something. Maybe it is time for me to go a little bit small. Go for some decent, good players that doesn't cost too much in the bank. And as you can see here, look at the price. It's like £5 million, £6 million. Palmer is like £10 million. Like, Christ. So it's which players that only can fit the team well and make sure to give me points, but also feel like, okay, okay, how will I get my points to go through? So we're gonna start with the keeper position, and right now I got selected the names. I got Pickford, Sells, Raya, Henderson. Onana is pretty much questionable in some cases, but then again he's kind of questionable. Martinez is kind of like a wild card, of course. Let's be honest. You got Anderson, Pope, Saar, all these kind of stuff. So this might lead us into my preview for the Premier League season. So this fantasy thing is kind of like my preview to not only the first week of the Premier League season, but pretty much the entirety of the Premier League season. Of which which players could improve well, which players would do all this kind of stuff. So all that jazz. So here we go. I believe that the very first goalkeeper and the very first pick of my fantasy will go to Mr. Henderson of Crystal Palace. He has performed pretty well in big games, especially against Manchester City when he saved that penalty, of course, when they won the FA Cup, and of course with Liverpool when he made those incredible penalties. Although Liverpool's penalties were kind of shite, to be honest. Um, he is incredibly key. Now it is time for me to look at these stats and look all the numbers about Henderson and to give me an idea of why I pick Anderson into the whole thing. Thank you to I'm not, by the way, this is not sponsored, by the way. Footmob is actually doing my work for me. I'm not, by the way, they're not sponsoring this whole thing. It's just me just looking at the stats and all kind of stuff. So, Dean Henderson, dearie old Dean Henderson from Crystal Palace, having a pretty okay last season if memory serves correctly. Now, he's a massive sweeper keeper, which means he can come forward using his feet, all those jazz. The modern day goalkeepers, of course, 66 percentile in clean sheets, of course. And if you look at last season, he has 11 clean sheets, only 51 goals conceded, and not much penalties, of course. Former Man United player, which hurts my soul. And he played a lot of minutes, played all the games, of course, last season, and have a decent rating. Now, I think, consider everything that's going on with Crystal Palace with the whole UEFA debacle, of course, which has turned out to be like a Nora movie in a nightmare scenario. He may be the most important player on this team. And with Gay and Eze having like transfer attachments to them and they might get moved, I don't know if Crystal Palace have any good players left. Well, Mateta is also an older good player left. You can say that, but I think defensively he could be the most important player. And the market value is not as horrible as well. 26.5 million euros. That's a kind of like a steal for me. And in terms of like a fantasy and all kind of stuff, I think he is the most important player. And only for £5, £5 million. That is a pretty good bargain, to be honest. Now, my second goalkeeper, I think Allison is okay, but it's just like it's just too easy. I'm just gonna go for some low tier players. Not, and if you can, yeah, I can do auto pick the whole team, but that'll be a waste of time, of course. That'll be a really waste of time. Maybe Vicario is okay. You know, I'm gonna go with a player that is pretty much in the now right now. I'm gonna be a player that is good enough and be in the now. I am going with Mr. Boy Raya. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm doing Raya against my former club. Okay, just humor me a little bit. Just humor me just a little bit. Now, David Raya was a pretty good goalkeeper from last season. Clean sheet, of course, 13 clean sheets. Owner of the Golden Glove, of course, last season. Penalties not as much, but he only conceded 34 goals. And his numbers, especially in the last couple of seasons, he is doing pretty well. He did pretty well. The percent 70.71% percentile, almost 2 goals prevented. He is in the clean sheets at 100 percentile, and all of this is from last season. And I think most importantly for Arsenal for this season, it's a striker, which actually they finally got it with Gyökeres. And the midfield is pretty good, and the defense is okayish. I think goalkeeping is pretty much important in order to make sure that Arsenal does not have a collapse this season by their own standards. And this is a pretty big season. So I think that Raya could do well this season. And by the way, both of these players are going to be playing on Sunday. So if you cannot do anything well on a Saturday, maybe Sunday will be perfect times to see both keepers in action. And both of them combined for £10.5 million. That's a good start. Now, 5 defenders to choose from. Oh, now, this is a pretty tough list to go for. Guavio could be a good list. Virgil van Dijk, but do I really want to trust a 38-year-old Virgil van Dijk of the performance in the Community Shield? Not as much. Sorry, Dad. Uh, Now, I think I'm going to go with maybe no. I'm going to go with one of the new boys from Manchester City. I'm going with Art Newey. I'm going with Mr. Art Newey here for Manchester City. Let's just pop the stat. Let's just pop the stats here. Let's just pop the stats here for Ryan Art-Newey, one of the newest players for Manchester City. And you can see here he is a genuine dominant left midfielder, left wing. So he plays mostly on the left side, and he's a flexible person. 24 years old, big market value, of course. Scored 4 goals, 7 assists. Coming in a newish player coming to the team. Will only play a lot of matches, 37 matches to be total. So he's pretty much getting into the Manchester City season, pretty much getting into the Manchester City mood. Did not play in the first game of the Club World Cup, but got it embedded in, make it assist, you know, pretty much 8.2 ratings. And if you look at that, I put in the FIFA Club World Cup standards. Let me just go with Premier League. Yeah, Premier League will be the creme de la creme. He is pretty decent. And comparing to all the fullbacks, he got a 95% of goals, 79% shot attempts, which means he can score a lot more, of course, making creative chances. Defensive contributes is not as much, and he could be the weak point of that team, of course, as they go on, which him moving forward, it could cause a lot of weakness for Manchester City and all kind of stuff. But I think this guy is really talented. 24 years old, probably embedded with the Pep Guardiola system. After one full year, could be important, and probably replacing like Kyle Walker, who's kind of like in the watch category, to be honest. So I think Newey is pretty much good. The second player I'll choose from the defense is give me Cucurella. Give me Cucurella right now. I don't care what many people think. I don't care about his style. Give me Cucurella. I think Cucurella is my favorite player right now in the Premier League. And World Cup champion, mind you. World Cup, not Club World Cup champion, mind you. Left back. He has scored a lot of goals. He made 43. He is winning aerial duels 44% and 51% defensive contributions, which was great last season. He 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 was pretty good, especially he was pretty good, especially in the Club World Cup. He was good against Benfica, good against Palmeiras, good against Florenzi, and even though he doesn't do, and let's be honest, he didn't do much against PSG. They were just wiping the floor with PSG in that finals. But this guy was brilliant, brilliant in the Premier League, and I'm gonna go Premier League stats. Well, okay, I don't think Premier League stats is going. Okay, there it is. He in terms of like defensively, like he's a main defender, by the way. He's in the 88th percentile in tackles won, duels won. He is in the aerial duels won, of course. Interceptions in the 81 percentile. He could commit a lot of fouls, and of course, but the recoveries of 82 percentile and all kind of stuff, and the dribble pass, this he is not the kind of easy to pass. So he could go more now. So as we all seen from the Euros of last year, he made an incredible assist to win the tournament against England, of course. So he can also like go forward, make some key passes and all kind of stuff. And he could be some kind of annoyance. He could be incredible, but I think he is an incredible defender, and I like this player a lot. Give me Cucurella for in that team for week 1, and let's see how the value grows. Number 3 of the 5 defensive unit to go to. Give me Willem. I mean, hmm, hmm. I'm gonna go with something unknown. Now, listen, I don't. Now, I'm gonna go with something into the wilderness. Gay, pretty much important, but he could be in the transfer embargo, of course. And by the way, there's also team news with some of the other players. You see that, Clivert is out for the Liverpool opener, and then you got Robinson. Oh, Andy Robinson. I could have picked Andy Robinson, man. That would have been so incredible. Sexyon is also out as well. Let's go to the other news. And Breeze is going. Breeze will be his first Premier League season, and 4 players will debut for West Ham. Now, could it be Wan Bissaka? Could it be Wan Bissaka? I don't think so. Wan Bissaka was not in there. Kanate, okay. Kansa, Hall, Pedro, Dalot, a lot of players in that list. So let's just go with something a little bit cheaper, but could be good value in the long run. And I could go with, oh, wait. Suzbani? I don't know. Arianjo to replace like Holland in the midfield, in the defense? I don't know. So give me Bowley. Give me Bowley. Give me Bowley against Brentford right now. And by the way, the last time we saw the last time we see Nottingham Forest in a striped T-shirt, they got relegated. So I'm not gonna be calling that. So you got William Bowley for that incredible Nottingham Forest team that made it back to Europe. Yes, Europa League. I'm not gonna get into that weed. Ariel Dues won the defensive contributions in really, really high, of course. Not much. He started 1 game in 6 matches and all kind of stuff. Mostly on the bench. Yeah, mostly on the bench. So his contributions is not as high as many people think. But I believe he'll get more and more value. In fact, no. Listen. Let's be honest. I do not want a guy who just like being the bench boy. I want someone who can start the game. Being the starter. And give me Alexander Moreno. Let's go. Give me Alexander Moreno. Let's go. Let's inject Alexander Moreno into my veins. This kid is an absolute dynamite. Another left back. It is what it is. And his contribution is incredible. 78 contributions. He only started 11 of the 15 matches, which means he doesn't have done much. Numbers are not speaking as much. And yeah, you can say the assist, the expected assist, and all the chances, all kind of stuff. But hey, listen, I'm buying him for about £4 million, which is not great, not as much, but it can work. It can cook. He can cook. And by the way, he's facing against Newcastle, which have like a million question marks that's going on with the team right now, with the Isak deal and not buying so much players and all kind of stuff. So I think Moreno can actually cook against Newcastle. I think he can do that. And by the way, that's an early Saturday morning game. It'll be fun. Now, Midfield number 4, and I'm gonna go like different players, of course. So you got Crystal Palace, you got Arsenal, you got City, you got Chelsea, you got Aston Villa. I'm picking like different players from different teams, of course. Spices, variety and all that stuff. Maybe I'll pick like 2 players on the other team, but I like pick and match any other players. And let's see, who's going to give me some good points now? Amas? Maybe not. Fredrickson, no. Okay. Let me just give me some affordability. Just give me some affordability right now. Guaviol, Milovic. Do I trust? Do I trust Virgil van Dijk? Do I really trust Virgil van Dijk? Do I really trust Virgil van Dijk? I don't know if I trust Virgil van Dijk. Give me Saliba. Give me William Saliba right now. Yes, William Saliba fell off a cliff last season, and trust me, I will say this. Yes, by the way, this probably broke my one team per rule, but let's be honest, I just don't trust 38-year-old Virgil van Dijk after what happened last week. I just don't trust anything when you're 38 years old and something. Maybe I'll be wrong, but it is what it is, of course. So, right, Saliba, and this is last season's performance in the Premier League, was pretty good in every other measurement, of course, in terms of passing and all that stuff from a center back, of course. Defensively, he got big tackles, almost 95 percentile. The tackle 1 percentages, not as great. The aerial duel, not as great. Interceptions, not as great, and all kinds of stuff. 7 dribble pass, which is not good, and all kinds of stuff. So his performance last season has been okay-ish, and he's been good. He's probably the most important player for Arsenal, not named like the striker like Saka and Gyökeres and all kinds of stuff, So I think he's really important for Arsenal in order for this team to strive, and I think he will do well. And by the way, again, I'm picking against my own team. If my team were to suffer in order for fantasy points, so be it. All right, so be it. So I'm picking Saliba for this. Final one for the defensive thing. Give me Milanovic. Yeah, give me the Serbian. Give me the Serbian master, Milakovic. Give me the Serbian master, baby. Give me that Serbian 5s. And by the way, yay. I think that is not enough for this. I think that is like, whoa. I think that is like, I think it's like, we're not going anymore. Goals, attempts, aerial duels, and all kinds of stuff. 5 goals, 2 assists, which means he can also score in some goals. Almost started in every game last season, which is stability is important. He was pretty good in some of the numbers in the last couple of games, of course. And if you wanted to look like, and by the way, this is World Cup qualifying. I think Premier League stats are different. He was impressive. Like, look at that impressiveness. Defended. Whew! Aerial duels, 91 percentile. Duels 1, 97 percentile. Aerials 1, 93 percentile. Tall, big, strong man at 195 centimeters, 27 years old, in almost his peak of his prime. And yes, maybe Nottingham Forest might drop off this season. Consider everything they've gone through last season. They might have a big drop off in terms of expected points and all kind of jazz. But he's a solid rock in the defense. So I will pick him. So these are my defense, of course. Tori Nori, Cucurella, Alex Moreno, Saliba, and Milovic. Now for the midfield. Woohoo, boy. Listen. I got to ride with Bruno Fernandes. And let's be honest, ladies and gentlemen, I don't need to see the stats or anything like that. Bruno Fernandes is pretty much the only reason why Man United was good last season. Or anything decently good last season. I mean, the guy literally carried Man United. Look at these stats, man. It's ridiculous. He literally carried Man United. Like, 10 goals, 8 assists. Started almost every single matchup. And if you look at the stats, he was insane. 10 assists, high percentile, all that stuff. Look at him. He was phenomenal last season. He is the reason why Man United are not as crap as many people think. Now, with the new players that Man United added, and of course, maybe I'll pick one of the players on the fantasy later, maybe he might not need a lot more help. But, I think he needs to like pull his big boy pants again and just trying to do that. Remember, he surrendered the Saudi money. He was surrendered the Saudi money for this. He wants to commit to Man United, and I'm glad for that. I'm really glad for that. But there's a part of me that may be feeling like, dude, I think we need the cash. We're kind of strapped, I guess. But in terms of like, you need your captain, you need your centerpiece, you need your only good thing to ever happen to Man United in the last, like, let's call it 3 to 4 years right now. You just needed some stability. And I think he's going to be the stable person. And by the way, I'm picking against these two for Arsenal. So it could be a great match. So it could be a great fantasy match. All right, how much money I have? 53 million pounds. Yep, I want to go Masala, but too expensive to my taste. Too expensive to my taste. So let's just go with a Fulham player. Let's go with Wabi. Let's go with Awami versus Brighton of Albion. Mr. Iwobi, if you want to call that. Yeah, Alex Iwobi from Fulham. Give me that against Crystal Palace. He's a left winger. He can also play right winger as well. He can play in somehow in every position, of course. He's good in touches and all kinds of stuff. Goals, 42%. He's great. 29 years old, 34 million pound value, 9 goals, 6 assists, which is okay in Fulham standards. Consider that Fulham has not even bet by pretty much any player in my attitude. This is pretty much like he needs to be doing well. And of course, with injuries being happening in the defense and all kind of stuff, I'm not saying that he had to carry the whole team, just like Bruno Fernandes did. I'm saying that Alex Iwobi is going to have a pretty good season and a pretty good week one, to be honest. Assist is doing well. Expected assist really, really high. Successful passes is also high as well. Accurate long balls also high as well. Chances created in successful crosses, he's also high as well. And he's good at possession and all that jazz. Not much possession. So a solid player. And only costs you 6.5 million pounds in virtual fantasy money, of course. Number 3 in my midfield for this whole thing. I'm gonna go with the Japanese sensation for Brighton to face off against Fulham. Mitoma. Shout out to the Japanese people out there. Karuo Mitoma is an absolute beast of a player. 28 years old, left midfielder, left wing back if he has to, but he's more like a left winger. And my goodness, 10 goals, 4 assists. The kid was an absolute dynamite. Expected goals, of course, for expected assists and successful passes. His goal scoring was elite in most of the part, all green, which means he's pretty much in the high, almost 80 percentile in most cases. Possessions, he's also well. He can dribble well. Not much successful dribbles last season. His touches are good. His touches on position boxes really well. And his tackles won, which is the most important thing, of course, when it comes to like, a forward player trying to become like involved with the play in terms of defensive structures and, running back and having all that energy. This guy can do that. 27 tackles won, 147 duels won, aerial duels won, of course, around 27%. 50% of duels won and all kinds of stuff. And interceptions like almost in 90%. Like, my God, this guy is an absolute beast in almost every which way or form. And not bad for about 6.5 million pounds, which puts us into 40 million pounds, with 5 players left to pick. Now, let's see. Kluivert is not going to play this week, of course. Give me a Halanga, new player. I'm not thinking so. Sabasai? I don't know, man. With new players coming in, I think he might be like, checked out of such. Madison, of course, sad for him. ACL injury. Poor kid. Amid, maybe. Saka. Do I trust Saka with that 10 million pound prize hold? I don't think so. No way. No way. Let's see. Ika Gundogan. No thanks. Hudson Odoi. Garnacho. He's gone, man. He's pretty much gone completely. Let's go with an Everton player, by the way. I'll go with Nadei for Everton. Let's go with Nadei for Everton, by the way. Let's go with Nadei for Everton. Let's go with Nadei. And let's see. Let me see if I can get his name right. Nadei. Let's see. Oh, there's a D in there. Okay, remove this. in the deal. Yeah, Iliman Nede. Yep. New. I think not say is he a new Everton player. He is a new Everton player. Okay, yeah, he is a not a new Everton player. He just came here like a year ago. So he has 9 goals and 9 goals last year, and probably Everton needs a lot of goals. Well, not of goals, more like he needs a proper goal scorer. Let's be honest. And I think he might do it for a midfielder for 9 goals and a 6.24 expected goals, all this kind of stuff. He can score penalties as well, 2 of course each. But in terms of like midfielder, he's good with successful dribbles. He can do touches. He's pretty much have won a lot of fouls, of course. Defending, he's also well tackling, high percentage, and duels won. So you have a pretty complete package for Everton. So I think in Menadaiway could do well against Leeds on Monday night, mind you. So pretty much the full package of daily matches. And for the final midfielder, of course, will be going to who? I think I'll go with Spurs here. Johnson? I don't know. Maybe not. I'll go with Damsgaard. I go with Mr. Damsgaard here. Yes, Brentford have a lot of things that's going on right now. Loss of manager, loss of best player, probably losing their other good player as well. I mean, right now, if you're Brentford, you must be feeling like the stability that Brentford have with Frank Thomas is just gone by the wayside. So the question is, can one of these players, can some of the senior players that is in there, stand up and take charge? And I think Damsgaard is going to be that guy. Mikkel Damsgaard was brilliant. The Danish player have 10 assists last season. 10. That is incredibly insane. He, I mean, look at that. Green. Yeah, red is not that much. The accuracy is not good. But the accurate long balls is good. The chances created is good. Crosses were good. Passes were good, of course. He exceeded his expectation, but almost 7. Dribbling, he's also good. Successful dribbles and touches. Almost 2,000 touches in a game. He also can defend well in terms of tackling, duels won, and interceptions in 27 interceptions. Recoveries and possession won on the final third, which is pretty important, of course, when they're trying to press like all this kind of stuff. We don't know what the new manager will be like, of course, with all the strategy, but let's just say for now, I think Damsgaard is going to be an important player for, Brentford. Consider everything that's going on with Brentford and the chaos that comes in. And for a beautiful price of £6 million, he can all be yours, and he is valuable. So here we are. That is pretty much done. So we now have $27.5 million. Sorry, £25.5 million in fantasy points. Let's just see the forwards. I do not trust Isak, consider everything that's gone on. Haaland, I think he's okay. Let me just go with Mateta. Yeah, I've already discussed about Mateta. I already discussed about Mateta. He is now going to be the most important player for this Crystal Palace team. With, I guess, everything that's going on with them, with everything, he is now the focal point. Scored a goal, of course, against Liverpool, the equalizer in the Community Shield last week, and he has scored 14 goals and 2 assists. That was after the season when Olise had gone to Bayern Munich, buying you. So you lost your other good player in Olise, and he's still balling in for 14 goals. That is pretty impressive. And by the way, 137 appearances, 44 goals. That's not bad. That is not bad, considering he was a lonely player for a couple of years, of course. And let's just tell you something. This guy is a green machine. Look at that. Pretty good in terms of expected goals, shots on target, penalty goals in some cases. He's also good at assisting, of course. 2.27 assists expected, of course. He can create chances. He got a good crossing, of course. He is pretty much the perfect goal scorer for Crystal Palace this season. I think my projection is like he can score like, I think he can score like, let's say 15 goals again this season. I'm not saying they're going to be like a 20 goal scorer, of course. If that happens, that means Crystal Palace have to be like a top 6 team, to be honest, which, brutally honest, I don't think they are. But he's going to have a pretty good goal scorer. And also for 28 years old, that's not bad. Not bad, of course. £7.5 million in for the money, in for the pound. That's pretty much it. Now for the second forward. Maybe I'll go with one with Wolves. I haven't done a Wolves, of course. Maybe I'll go with one with Wolves. Well, Wolves and maybe I'll go with one with Wolves and Brighton, of course. Let's see. Fulcrum, I'm not sure. All right, you know what? Let's just go. All right, let me just go with Strand Larson for Wolves. All right, why not? It's fantasy. It's fantasy football. Why not? Jorgen Strand Larson. By the way, brand new player on the team. Brand new team player on the team. Signed a huge contract. Well, not a huge contract. Pretty much a decent contract, of course. Premier League last season. By the way, he's on. By the way, he was a lonely player for much of the time. He did also good, scored a couple of goals, one goal against Crystal Palace, the other goal in Leicester City. So he can bag in some goals. 14 goals last season, 10.2 expected, and 14.21 xG and non-penalty xG and all kinds of stuff with the assists and the successful passes and all that jazz. He is pretty good, and I think right now, if you're Wolves, consider how bad the bottom three has been. If one of the bottom three teams could actually be good and decent, they need a lot of goal scoring. And of course, with losing Konya really sucks. That means he has to be the big man. He has to be the big man on campus. It is not going to be like Lee, of course, the Korean player from Wolves, of course. He's not going to be that. I don't know much players, of course. But he has to be the most important player for this Wolves team. And they're gonna have to make sure that he has to bag a lot of goals, maybe 15 goals a season, to make sure the Wolves will be like a mid-table team. To be honest, consider how last season went and all that jazz. So I think Jurgen Strand Larsen is my pick. 6.5 million pounds, not bad. Which means I got 13.5 million pounds to spend. And you know what? You know what? I think it's time for me to spend. I think it's time for me to spend big. So not too big. Let's just see. 13.5 million pounds. Let's just keep it around the 11 million pound range. Let's go 11 million pound range. Let's see. Scott Bowen, Raul, 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 Raul versus Brighton. Let's just see. I think Raul Jimenez can cook. This guy was the renaissance on this guy, from everything that's going on from the last couple of seasons to now, it's an absolute revelation of him. Probably the Mexican's most important player in the last couple of years. Gold Cup winner, all that jazz. He is incredible. 12 goals, 3 assists last season. Pretty much Fulham's most top player of the team. His rankings are pretty much good. His rankings are pretty much incredibly good. You can see all his accolades, of course. And he is phenomenal. He is a phenomenal player. Look at his stats, shots, attempts, goals, defensive contributions. 88% defensive contributions. Defensive. My lord. So this guy can play all around. Now, yes, he's 34 years old. He is not getting any younger, to be honest. But as we saw from like Mo Salah, of course, we saw that the guy can cook at 38 years old. Surely Raul Jimenez can score like 15 goals, for the team in 2025, 2026, and contribute to Fulham being like a mid-table team, of course. So I can say he can go 15 goals and all kinds of stuff. And for 6.5 million pounds, he is gonna be elite. So let's just see if I can do any more changes. I know I have one Man United player, but consider the circumstances with Man United right now and the trust that I have. Do I really trust Man United in most cases? I'm not sure. We'll get to that season preview. But for now, these are my players. Henderson Raya for the goalkeeping, Aldinori, Cucurella, Alex Morendo, William Saliba, Milankovic on the defense, Bruno Fernandes, Iwobi, Mitoma, Nadiri, Navsgaard into the midfield, and Matteo, Strand Larsen, and Raul in the forward. So it's kind of like a decent lineup, of course. It's kind of like a decent lineup. You got some few big name players, of course. Some of them from the top four, some of them like mid-table, all kinds of stuff. Not enough of them like the promoted teams, which is kind of like arm's length of the promoted teams. Feels like they're not as good enough to compete in the Premier League, which is fun, of course. And all of that for £7 million to spend. So I think we should lock this in, and we can go with let's call it the Mackie United. Let's just say. And yeah, gotta go immediately. And oh wait, hold up. Let's see. Okay, yada yada yada, all that jazz, and then enter squad, and probably generate a badge or something. Let's just give it a pretty cool badge. And by the way, thank you for the people at Adobe for actually doing this. And if you like all the soccer videos and want me to do some more fantasy and all kinds of stuff, please like and subscribe to this footballing channel that I'm doing right now, along with the League of Legends channel. That'll be linked in below. So you got two big options. You want to go gaming with all the League of Legends jazz, or you want to go like a lot of football and jazz to talk about Premier League soccer or maybe sports in general, like your baseball, your rugby, your tennis, all those kind of stuff. Little things, of course. So yeah, those kind of stuff are going to be here. So while this is going to be like constructed, I think it's time for me to do my season preview. Now, in there are six big storylines that'll be happening in a season preview. Now, normally I'll be having to do like a week to week game and all kinds of stuff, but let's be honest, some of the time I might not be here, some of the time I may be lazy as heck, and maybe I'm not doing that. So, this is going to be the overall season that I'm going to be doing that. So, the first thing is going to be mostly Liverpool and the emotional roller coaster that could derail them. Now, first of all, my heart goes out to once again the family of Diego Jota and his brother. And unfortunately, the circumstances is really it hurts Liverpool so much. This unexpected situation that is thrust into them to the point of like it could hurt them in this season. Maybe it might galvanize them. Maybe like bring them together. This adversity to bring them together and rally this cry and do something incredible. Which is, if that happens, that'll be the story of the season to all purpose, of course. And to make it even more horrific, I'm gonna be 28 in the next couple of months. I'll be in the same age as Diego Jota, to be honest, which makes it even more sad, even for me. Now I feel like the person that will lead this Liverpool to do great things and to lead them through everything that's going on is Arne Slot. And I think he's the most important person because he not only have the new players to come in and try to gel this whole team, he's gonna come in and trying to like get through all the emotional stuff that's going on. And by the way, tomorrow will be the first game of the season, and I'll tell you what, Anfield is going to be emotionally charged up for this game. Well, emotionally saddened in most cases, but they'll be emotionally charged up for this game with everything that's going on. And of course, don't not forget like the parade situation that happened around this season as well. But with the Diego Jota situation that is fresh on their minds and the horrible situation, this could be the rallying cry for this season for Liverpool. Or this might really hurt them and go off the rails. And it's not just the situation, not the emotional roller coaster. It's the players. As we saw from the Community Shield last week, my worry is about the older players. My worry is about Virgil van Dijk and Mo Salah. I'm not sure that Salah is good, but I'm not sure you can do this again like we saw last season. It's going to be hard to do it at age 38, of course, with World Cup coming up, and of course, African Cup of Nations, which is going to be around the winter that's coming up. That's going to be a big concern for him, of course. So, do I really trust a 38-year-old Mo Salah? As you see from the fantasy, maybe not. But Van Dijk is going to be a question mark. And I feel like if there's 2 more weeks until the transfer window, you never know. But if you're Liverpool, by the way, I think Liverpool just signed a young Italian defender, of course. If that happens, that might be cover for like Virgil van Dijk in cases decline might happen, which may happen, of course. It may happen to him if performances like the one against Crystal Palace in last week could deteriorate again. But for Liverpool this entire season, it's going to be a wild, emotional, driven field roller coaster that may hurt them or may help them. We'll find out on the first game of the season come tomorrow. Now, the second question is going to be mostly Arsenal. Just give me a couple of minutes and I will talk about Arsenal. And can they be the bride for the first time in 22 plus years? Now, before we get to Arsenal and all the good stuff, this is the lineup that, of course, the fantasy will produce. Henderson will be starting as goalkeeper. Atori, Norwell, Cucurella, Moreno, and Salivia will be the defenders. Bruno Fernandes, Iwobi, Mitoma, Nede, Mateta, and Strand Larson will be my 2 forwards. And then I got Raya, Milovic, Damsgaard, and Raul for my substitutes. So there you go. All that jazz and all that things are going to be created by fantasy. Okay, let's move on to Arsenal. Let's talk about Arsenal just a little bit. This is officially the no excuse season. Plain and simple, this is officially the no excuse season. For those who don't know, this is the third time that this is now back to back runners-up finishes. And you can say that, the Manchester City dominance in those 2 runners-up finishes is warranted. But my God in hell, you cannot. That was listen, last season was pretty much the freest Premier League title you will ever get in your life. And the fact you bundled that to a Liverpool team that, let's be honest, they did well last season with Arne Slot, but to the Liverpool team that was supposed to be in a rebuild year. For God's sakes, how could you fumble that bag? Well, here's the one problem, Hakeem, that has been causing Arsenal to hurt them for the last couple of years. They don't have a top striker. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They do have a top striker in Victor Gyökeres. So now the excuse party should not be any more. No. The excuses cannot be happening, ladies and gentlemen. My father's best friend just got laid down last week. He's looking up in the heavens, man. And I will tell you one thing. If Arsenal does not win the title, my goodness, my God, he'll be disappointed. He'll be absolutely disappointed. And listen, I have like a few of my dad have like a lot of friends who, by the way, Arsenal fans. So if your team cannot do well, man, if your team does not do well this season, if your team does not win the Premier League title, then I'm sorry, man. Change is going to be made. Maybe the manager, maybe like the players, of course, but change is going to be made. You do not tell me that with Saka and Saliba and with Gyökeres and with Raya being there, you not tell me that this team can win the Premier League title. It has to be like, it has to take something of like Liverpool being incredibly well, City to be incredibly godly, and maybe Chelsea doing something. But City are going on a rebuild. Liverpool is going to an emotional wreck right now, and hopefully that might galvanize them. And Chelsea, I mean, they're okay, but are they good enough? And United and Spurs are nowhere near the top of the game right now. Nowhere near. So it's like, once again, Arsenal has to win this season. They have to be the bride after all these years. 3 times the bridesmaid, but never the bride. This is it. This is all your eggs in your basket. If you do not deliver a Premier League title to Arsenal, man, this entire legacy of Arsenal will go down as a failure. A failure for the fans, a failure for the players, a failure for you, for God's sakes. A failure for you. Arteta, who everybody talk about how great the coach is. Well, great coaches win titles. Big ones, of course. And an FA Cup title, let's be honest. Consider everything that's going on the last couple of days. It's just not it. It's not it right now. No disrespect to Crystal Palace and all the other teams that won titles, of course, but just saying, it's not the be and all end all. Arsenal have been waiting 22 years right now. The last time Arsenal won a Premier League title was when they were invincible. And by the way, I used to be an Arsenal fan. I used to watch Thierry Henry and Fabregas and Seaman and all these other good players balled out with that Arsenal, guys. And now that it's gone, I'm like in the same situation as Arsenal right now, where we have a title drought right now. When we had a great manager and now gone out, and we have gone through rebuild after rebuild and not doing well. And now, here we are. This is literally the closest you ever got to glory in a long time. And if you cannot deliver this season, I'm not saying it's going to be like Manchester United bad. I'm not saying that Arsenal and Manchester United bad. But they will be like in an absolute downfall in terms of mental destruction if they don't win the title. So you got to get this done, man. You got to win the Premier League title. No ifs and buts about it. Title or bust. No excuses. Now, number 3, will the glory teams recapture the glory? And for anybody who don't know what that glory in quotation marks is, both Man United and Tottenham have the same song, of course. In case you haven't noticed, glory, glory, Man United. And, of course, I have glory, glory, Tottenham Hotspur. So, in case you haven't noticed, that's why I put the glory in the quotation marks. Don't get any crazy ideas, of course. And I have to say, the answer to that question of glory is no. No. In terms of, like, being decent, yes. I think Man United and Tottenham will have decent seasons. For Tottenham, as we saw from yesterday in the Super Cup, I think they did okay. I think they did good against PSG. I think I can understand why the Spursy comments and the disgustingness abuse of one player can be I'm not warranting that thing. I do not warrant any abuse in any kind, of course. Especially if it's my team, of course. And I can understand why. And I can understand the feeling of like, they finally got a trophy. They finally get the monkey off their bats. And it almost feels like it's not enough. And I can understand. 22 defeats last season, close to relegation zone if it wasn't for the crappy bottom three. I understand. I totally understand. So expectations are pretty much, they're, I mean, for Thomas Frank, it's really high. It's really high. And let's be honest. You are going from Ange Postecoglou and his high pressing style that actually won him a trophy. And let's be brutally honest and brutally sad, of course. Let's be clear, everybody, to all the Tottenham fans. You won against a crappy Man United team, okay, in the Europa League final. I had to watch that entire Europa League final with my own two eyes because A, I have no choice, and B, I have to make sure my team win the trophy. And guess what? We didn't. So, congratulations, Tottenham. You get probably the freest win of your entire existence. But 22 defeats does not look good for them. And unfortunately, the chairman did the right thing. It hurts, but they did the right thing. Now, can Thomas Frank actually make this team better? We saw from the Super Cup. I think they can. I think they need more depth in the team. Solanke and Richarlison are good, but they're not over the top yet. Well, maybe they're not over the top in terms of like quality and goal scoring. I mean, you lose Harry Kane, and of course you lose Song Heung-min, who was the fifth best goal scorer in Tottenham history. Yeah, and a big influence in all of like Korean culture, to be honest. So yeah, this is going to be a pretty rough time for Thomas Frank. And by the way, his first game against Burnley. Good luck. You get. I mean, I swear to God, if you lose to Burnley in the first game of the season, the Vulture's going to be circling in. Like, listen, my team will face off against Arsenal. If we lose to Arsenal, I mean, consider everything that was going on last season, it's bad enough. But it's like, listen, you lose to Arsenal. It's fine. You lose to Burnley? Nah, that's just, I will not have it. I will not even have it. For United, I think we all know the situation. 15th place last season, horrible approach standing, no European football. And right now, for me personally, I just feel like I want to give up on Man United so badly. I want to just give up on my team. And who can blame them? After last season, who can blame them? No, including myself, who can blame them? And now it's time. And now I get the perfect birthday gift or the imperfect birthday gift of course, I have to listen. By the way, I have to go to church on Sunday, so I can't even watch the match. But I may have a perfect birthday gift of my team being Arsenal and set the season a tone. Because let's be really honest, ladies and gentlemen, Man United's first 10 games are going to be absolutely diabolical. Like, if you wanted to know the diabolical nature of, of the entire season for Man United, this is the first 10 games. Let me just read you Man United's very first 10 games. It's going to show up on Google. There you go. So you got Arsenal on the 17th of August. Okay. Then you got Fulham, no slouches. And you got Grimsby Town, of course, in the EFL Cup, of course, which, by the way, they drew, of course, just this morning. So you got that going. Then you got Burnley. All right, so you got Arsenal, Fulham, and you got Burnley. Okay, we started off rough, but we're fine. Then you got Manchester City and Chelsea. Arsenal, Manchester City, and Chelsea. Are you kidding me? Those are the first 5 fixtures of the Premier League. No joke. What is this? But Hakeem, oh dear Hakeem, this is going to get worse. This is going to get worse. It is going to get worse. Let's expand the fixtures, shall we? Let's just see if we can expand the fixtures. Let's see if we can show it up. And listen, I got a couple of minutes left on this thing, so let's just see if we can expand the fixtures, or maybe we don't and just like focus on the first 5 fixtures. Actually, you know what? Let's just go to Sky Sports. Let's just go to our dear old friend Sky Sports with, Gary Neville and all those jazz, of course. Let's just go to Sky Sports. Let's just go with Sky Sports with those nicely Premier League fixtures of Man United. Let's just see how diabolical it is. So we already mentioned about Arsenal. We already mentioned about Fulham. We already mentioned about Burnley. And then you got Manchester City, by the way, and then Chelsea. City and Chelsea back to back. You're kidding me. And you got Brentford, by the way, on the 27th. Then you got Sunderland, and then you got Liverpool. Before you got Brighton Hove Albion. So already, you got Liverpool, Chelsea, and Arsenal, the top four teams from last season, in the first 10 games of the fixture. Well, Amron, you better win all those games or you're going to get absolutely murked. Or you're not going to survive until November. This is probably the most crucial period of Amorim's entire tenure with Man United. He has to deliver this team. And listen, we're not asking for Premier League titles. We're not asking for trophies. We're not asking for all that jazz. They are far and away, pretty much, in the terms of the pecking order in Premier League status. But what I want from him is pretty much like, can he just be good? Can he just be a decent team? Can you not get beaten 4 or 5-0 to like Liverpool or City? If you're going to lose to some teams, fine. If you lose to Chelsea and City, fine. But do not in my time make me look at my phone and saying they lose 5-0. Like, give me a break. My mental cannot even handle Man United from last season. My mental cannot even handle Man United for the next month. Like, it's crazy. Look at the fixtures. It's brutal. But listen, after the season that you had last season, you got to have to start somewhere. You got to beat Arsenal. Not saying it's a must win, but in order for this new Man United with your Cunhas and your Seskos and your Wembos to come in, and with all those players, of course, and hopefully a new goalkeeper that is not trash, you got to start on the front foot. You got to start on the front foot. Listen, Arsenal have the biggest season yet with no excuses and probably win a title. Man United just trying to like exist. And I'm not, maybe if you want to look at the odds and other thing, but Man United are kind of like favorites. And I read like the Guardians, of course, previewing some of the gate teams. 2 of the people have Man United relegated. Like, I know it's crazy. It's far-fetched. It's not going to happen. Come on. But with that season that they have, and with the inconsistencies and the circling, the cycling with, hey, manager getting appointed, he put in system did not work, team losing, sacked, and all that cycling for the last season. My question to you is, can Amorim manage the whole season? That's what we want. We want Amorim to at least manage the entire season, to do well this season, to capture Europe. I don't care if it's like Europa League or such, or maybe the Conference League. It's just European football is fine for me. Can he do that? Can he at least manage this season? The answer may be yes. I just want that to happen. But with everything that's going on, and with everything that's going to happen, it's going to be rough, man. It's going to be absolutely rough. All right. Will the promoted teams not be crap? The answer is no. Plain and simple, no. They will... No, actually, yes. Actually, no, because I think all 3 will go down. I think Leeds are going to be not great. Burnley are going to be fine, but I just don't see it so. And Sunderland is just... Even Granit Xhaka is okay, but I just don't think so. Can Newcastle tune out the noise? We saw this with the Isak situation, and I feel like, will he be? Will he won't be? I mean, if Isak is going to be staying great, but he's going to be absolutely ridiculed by so many fans. And after everything that Newcastle are going through, finally win a trophy after all these years. Just like Tottenham right now, it's just not enough. It almost feels like the teams that actually won trophies kind of like absolutely screwed over by themselves. Newcastle, because they haven't signed anything big, and Isak is going to be like the most important player on the team to try to keep, and he's in a mess right now. Crystal Palace won in the FA Cup and never get the Europa, but not going to the Europa League because of the multi-club ownership BS that's going on right now and everything that's going on. And Tottenham for finally winning the trophy, but unfortunately, you now have to be in the shadow of Ange Postecoglou, who finally won, and now Thomas Frank is under enormous pressure because he hasn't managed a big club yet. So, man, do I think winning the trophy is worth it? Yes. But is it everything worth it? Not really. So I think it's for Eddie Howe and his entire team to just like try to rally his noise, because right now you have not only Premier League football to commit to, but Champions League football. And that is going to be more important, of course. Can they handle all of that? I think it'll be rough for them. And can we have a relegation title race till the end? A relegation / title race till the end? Yes, 1,000%. Yes, because last couple of seasons has been rough. It has been rough. You know, relegation has already been decided a couple of months ago. Title race is being done by May, and we just have this whole malaise of like sleepwalking the entire season until can we just get to May and all kind of stuff. I do not want that to happen. Look at the Premier League title race. Arsenal, Liverpool, Chelsea, and City could win the whole thing. And you got relegations, of course. It feels like, yeah, the bottom three kind of settled. But if you get like one or two teams being settled and you see like, let's say Wolves, West Ham, and maybe Everton kind of struggle a little bit, then we might have a pretty interesting time. I prefer the title race to be really close and really good for till the end, and I just want that to happen. I really want a close title race this season because the last couple of seasons, despite the domination of some teams, of course, it just makes you feel like it just feels not great. So I just want a good title race this season. I want a competitive one all the way to the end. It doesn't have to be like the last day, of course. It will be like close until like 2 to 3 games remaining, and then it'll be like fun, of course. Maybe a 14 title race would be fun, but it may not happen. Maybe I just want a close title race for once. Even if my team is not involved, maybe just a close title race for the neutrals, just to be happy, please. And that should do it for the season preview and my fantasy, of course. Thank you all for watching and all kinds of stuff. Enjoy the Premier League and all the thing. See you next time, and enjoy the games.